Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is your man, Mr. Music. You are now tuning to MNTC Radio via iHeartRadio. I know how we do it, man. It's a station designed to keep you in mind. We got a special guest in the building today, not from Minnesota, not from New York, not from the Chi, representing B More. What's going on, Aerospace?
Whoa. You mean Washington, D.C.
Oh, I said B More. I'm back.
No. This is a perfect way to... It's a perfect way to start out. You know why? Because everybody confused the DMV. So let me get that straight. So one, you got Washington, D.C. You know what I'm saying? Then you got Virginia. You know what I'm saying? You got your Alexandria. You got, Richmond. Niggas be like, yeah, we don't consider that, but that's part of the area. You know what I'm saying? You got Pusha T. You got many different incredible, people from that area. And then you got Maryland. Maryland is like right within this area. So if you go on the DC Metro, it'll take you through all 3 states.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's part of the Metro.
That's why it's called the DMV, because they're all part of the DC metropolitan area.
Copy. Now, you from Southeast DC, and for what we know out here, that's the hood.
DC has a lot of hoods, man. You got Uptown, you got over on the north side, you got the Toga, you got Trinidad. Where I'm from is Alabama Avenue. And yeah, it's really rough. Like South Side is really rough.
Now growing up out there, what were some of the things that you saw kind of just growing up on a regular basis that affected how you put out your music?
I put it in perspective. There was this girl I used to ride the bus with. I would come from, at the time, like I was going to school in Southeast. My mom was like, all right, we're going to move us out of here. We're going to put us in right on the cut in Maryland. So we was in Lanham. And I would take the T16 to New Carrollton Station and take that down to Potomac Avenue, and then take the M6 to school in Southeast. This girl I used to ride with from Potomac Avenue to my school, a few years later, I was reading a newspaper, an obituary, and she was in there. So to put into perspective, like I was riding to school with this girl, and then she disappeared and just wasn't riding the bus anymore. But I'm like, all right, that happens, different routes, different things, different schools. And then I see her name sometime later in the obituary. So DC is like shit, like the DC sniper. Like I was in school when the DC sniper was like,
I remember that.
All up and down Massachusetts Avenue. We had a whole system where we would couldn't go outside after a certain time. Like we had to walk the back area. Like if something seemed off, we had to duck. Like when 9/11 happened, we was hiding under they was giving us drills of hiding under the desks and shit. Like, and then on top of that, you go from that and then you come outside and then it's like, hey, what's good? What's up? Hey, I like those, bro. What you, yeah. And then it's a thing.
So I gotta ask, man, at what point did you start saying, you know what? I see what's going on. I'm living life, but you want to start making music. At what point did that start?
I was always a musician. Like, my cousin and my mom would recall, rest in peace, moms, but would talk about when I was like playing with sticks on different things when I was like 3, and it didn't connect. The first instrument that I fell in love with was actually piano before drums. I'm drumming 15 years. So,
okay. Oh, wow.
So I fell for piano, and then I was like, oh, I love this shit. This is percussive. It got melody. Like I can do different things with this. And then I really found drums when I got access to being able to play in church. And it's like, oh, nigga, I just bang on this shit. Let's go.
Now going back to your moms, man, let's talk about your parents in general. Are they from here, and how do they take to your music? I'm from a Liberian culture where when I talk about music or entertainment, they're like, nah, bro, that ain't happening. That ain't happening.
It's crazy. It's a mix, right? Because I'm one of them kids with a really troubled childhood. You know what I'm saying? My parents came from another country. They respectively, my mother Grenada, my father Jamaica. They actually met in New York.
Copy.
Right. So they met in New York, and then they boom, and then they had me. But there was also a bunch of really fucked up things and complications and a lot of abuse between them. So by the time I came out, my father was dealing with some whole other shit. So I actually ended up being raised by my stepmother instead of my mother. So when it was there was a lyric that I had in a song that I just wrote actually where I said, my father took me to church. So, I absolved all my beliefs. That's literally what happened. My father left me at the church, and then my stepmom was like, yo, you gonna come get your kid? And then he's like, and so she started.
Pause. I want to make sure I'm with you.
Oh God.
Now this is some movie shit now.
Yeah.
Your father took you to church and left you there.
Because my stepmom was there. So she just took care of me. And so they would trade back and forth over time because my father didn't want to take care of me and my mother couldn't take care of me because my father was using that as, niggas being on some fuck shit. So that's what that was.
I gotta ask you something with that because I've had weird issues with my father's kind of movies like as well, and it creates all these questions of like these big question marks.
Yeah.
As you grown up as a child that happened, like how are you able to overcome that, or like how do you look back on that? Like I know it's hard to describe the feeling, but if you can, how did you just over time, like it's kind of similar, but not the same. But I have to imagine that has to fuck with your brain at some point.
It does, because when I was a kid, I didn't identify my real mom as my mom because I was being raised by my stepmom. So I would hear stories about how I would cry when I go see my mom. So my mom would be like, and I'd be like, I don't know who that lady is. So like getting older, and then I got close to her right before she died because she passed from cancer.
Oh, okay.
Both her and my stepmother had passed, but my stepmother's a little more complicated. But with my mom, we started getting closer before she passed. So I started understanding and learning a lot of the things that I didn't know because I couldn't understand it as a kid. Because, it's like, what I'm saying? You think one parent is, especially when you're in a situation where you have a manipulative parent or a narcissistic parent, where it's like they pit you against another parent, you think one thing and it's actually another. And then I actually had to put all these things together, just going back in the old family and asking them questions, because as a result of how I was born, now the side of my family actually took a liking to me. So for all intents and purposes, I haven't really met much of my family.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's almost like your stepmother is there for you, and then your music is like your family.
Literally. That's what anime was. So boom, it's crazy because we was discussing the anime before, I was talking about it.
Yeah.
Anime came in so my stepmother was friends with some people at church that we was living with them. And then the son of the woman, his name was David. He had a cousin that was stationed out in Okinawa that was getting the hella anime, so he was sending it back over. So that's how I got a bunch of bootleg anime in the 90s and bootleg PS2 games. So me learning about that ended up taking place of what became my family. And then around 99, 2000 is when I really started getting into like the Cartoon Network anime. But before that was like Sailor Moon, like what, 95, 96?
Yeah, like 95, 96.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask, like, what was it about the anime? Was it the stories they was telling? Were you able to relate to what was going on? Like,
yeah, because it made sense. It was like, if my life felt like a movie, right? Because it's like weird. It was like I'm in it. And when you're a kid, you're experiencing things, but you're compartmentalizing them and putting them to the back of your head. Your brain is trying to protect you. But then when you see something you identify with, it comes to the forefront. So my way of being almost forced to process it was watching something that showed me what I was experiencing in real time.
Forced to process it.
Yeah.
That's heavy, man. Now, when you start doing the music, I'm sorry to keep on going back to the situation with your dad, because for me, I'm just thinking like, my pops left me in the church. I'm just like, yo, like what? How, like when you were doing the music, were you confident about going into the music, knowing what happened in the past? I feel like sometimes we get abandoned like that. It makes us feel like, oh, we're not good enough, or, I'm not wanted. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but in my instance, it was because I was being passed around from different people. So it was like, it wasn't like I didn't see my father at all, even though I didn't see him a lot. And it wasn't like I didn't see my mother at all, but I can count on both hands how many times I've seen my mother. So like putting it in, even making it even deeper for a second, my mother still has kids overseas. So I have a sister in Grenada that I've only spoken to twice. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when it came to the music's already part of the blood. It was already there, just culture. But then there's the other layer where you're dealing with the religious aspect. So my parents were Christian. Every single person in this group was Christian. So, right. So then you dealing with that. So it's like it's like, oh, well, I don't want you doing music because it's secular. It's not of God. And it's
is that how the stepmother was too?
That's how my stepmom was. She broke my first Eminem CD, my Andre 3000, when I got the Outkast joint. Like anything I had that wasn't of God, she broke that shit.
So at any point, was she like acceptive of it, or it was just like a battle the whole time?
I think it got to a point where there was an identification that there wasn't anything that she can do about it. Okay. Because like they found means to like, I'm gonna just keep it 300, which like they tried to reform me in different ways. Like,
That's some Christian shit.
You know what I'm saying? And just to put it out there, because I know it's already out there, but I went to a school called Miracle Meadows, and it was a school in the middle of Salem, West Virginia, owned by two white people, the Clark family, who pretty much had a plantation of kids that came in and out of there for over 10 years. That were
said a plantation
on my mama,
man,
on my mama. So like I was there for a year and a half. So when you're dealing with your Christian parents, it's like, it's so crazy how that shit work, right? Because you have your Christian Black parents that sent you to a Christian right school thinking it's gonna help you.
Hold on, did you have to live there?
Yeah, I lived there for a year and a half.
Oh my God, bro. What?
I was there.
You had to live there.
Yeah, dog.
Bland food.
Niggas was like, it was straight from the hood to there.
Wow.
So
now at what point did you leave that school and come back?
Yeah, it wasn't really a comeback situation. It's like I went to that school, and then after that, then I got sent to another school of a similar type. Then I left. Yeah. Yeah, dog. So it was like really weird too, because like I had to deal with all of my experiences up close. You know what I'm saying? I still remember the first time I got shot at. Walking through Maryland, just out there in Forestville with the homie. You know what I'm saying? Just wild shit. Or, hitting me up, be like, yeah, dog, niggas just did a drive-by on my crib. Or like me getting followed, walking through where I was at, or me getting jumped, or like it's something that just comes with growing up in an area where everybody needs to find a way to be able to make it. Like if you just happen, not everybody has I won't necessarily say a conscience, because I think people have a conscience for different things, but I won't necessarily say that everybody has the moral discernment to determine whether or not a decision that they make at that time is the best for them in the grand scheme. Like a nigga be like, yeah, I'm gonna rob this dude right now, but it's like, is it smart to rob this dude when it's on dusk and like there's fairs around the corner, and like, is it really smart? You know what I'm saying? It's like weighing your options. And when you're in a jungle, niggas don't care about their options. They don't care. They just want to make more opportunity.
Yeah, they just want to eat.
That's it.
Want to eat. Now, what's crazy to me is I'm trying to handle all this information, because having conversations like this help me put things together based off the music I listen to. While listening to your music, you got some pop elements in there. You got some kind of like gothy vibes in there.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're not afraid to be yourself. Now, what's crazy is when I hear your story, it's like you have to leave the hood to go these different areas that you probably wasn't in before, which made you more adaptable. And I feel that change of being adaptable is also in your music. Do you feel the same way? Or add on to that if you want.
No, it's absolutely the case. Like I like at the core, like it was always this joke with myself about how as I got older that I was just gonna quit rap and be a jazz drummer. And it's always because like I felt that jazz provided an element of security, comfort, and safety that didn't force me to be anything other than comfortable and calm. Like you see a lot of jazz drummers, they be It just be chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like that's ultimate zen to me. That's where I'm trying to be at. So like I find that with hip hop is an ever moving structure. And the purpose, I believe, of hip hop was to build on it, not take away from it. So if I can translate, like, for example, the way I think about rapping is like, I'm a drummer and I'm a pianist. So you put these two elements together, all that you have are notes. Every syllable is a note. Every syllable is a note. So you strike that out. And if you're writing down rudiments or the way that you're thinking about your rapping, you can fit it in anything. You can drum to anything. You can rap to anything. The same as that concept.
Now, when you first came out with your music, because your style is so different, were people in the hood like, oh, that shit's weird, or were they fucking with it, or you know what I mean?
It was a mix. It was like, I had my niggas that was like, yeah, and then you had other people was like, nigga, what the fuck is you on? And it's like, I mean, what makes it even funnier is that like, my favorite rapper is Jay-Z. Like, Hovey Baby was my first song. I remember how old I was. I was 7 years old and I heard that shit. Nigga said, I'm so far ahead of my time. I'm about to start another life. Look behind you. I'm about to pass you twice. Back to the future. From my present, I'm past. Niggas can't get past my past or how to propose to deal with my perfect present. When I unwrap the gift and the curse in one session, ain't no living person can test them. Nigga, I heard that and I was like, huh?
Like, I'm with that.
Like I couldn't comprehend it. And then as I started listening to more and more, sneaking some CDs, getting some influences, and it was like the ways that you can piece together your own individual story. It was like hip hop said, you can do this however you want. When I learned that niggas didn't fuck with Jay-Z in the beginning, blows my mind. That's crazy. You had to go and do Def Jam. You had to go do Rockefeller. You had to do all this other shit because people were intentionally trying to prevent you from being able to get your story out because it was something they couldn't identify with at the time. So
it's crazy. And now his old stuff is classic to him.
So if I see that, I'm like, well, why am I not going to continue doing what I'm doing? Because at the end of the day, however I build it or whatever I choose to make it is up to me.
No, that's
niggas don't like it. Niggas not gonna like it. There's 7 billion people in the world. If you can get in front of at least 5 billion, at least 10 million, them niggas gonna fuck with you. So,
no, that's word. Now let's take it to Analogs all the way to now Azalea, right? When you look at the growth, what is one of your favorite? Like, what was like a defining moment for you in your growth as an artist? I feel like when somebody first comes out, while listening to Analogs, I feel like you were still looking for your style a little bit. And then as you went on, adding more of the anime to your music, I felt like you was more locked in. For you, what was your defining point?
Azalea. I like.
Why? Because it was a leap or what?
Huh?
Because it was like a big leap for you, or
because it was some. All right, so like even my growth happens in ways of like, by the time I'm done, I'm just keeping it real.
Oh yeah, all the way.
I've finished recording it. Yeah. I'm over it. So if I can't come back to it and like it the same way I did when I first recorded it, all right, let's move on to something else. It's so hard to satiate me because of my love for music. I love so many different types of things that I almost have to please my own inner music critic with what I make. So if it's not something I can really go back to, all right, whatever. But I also have to understand that just because I may like it doesn't mean someone else may like it and vice versa. So I'll take a chance with it. I'll be like, all right, I fuck with this song, not as much as this, but let me put it out here to see what happens.
So did you like your first project?
My very first project?
Yeah. He like,
I can't say no because I never was, I'm gonna just keep it 3. I wasn't ever bad. It was like there was always an element of a foundation, but it just needed to be developed. I remember when I did one of my first shows when I was in Spanish Harlem, when I was telling you about when I did with Ty Hickson and Sheba Hickson. Shout out to them. Dude, I was there. He was like, yeah, dog, this is tight. I love what you're doing. I just want to see you do it with a band. I want to see how you develop. So then I went out to LA, went to school, linked with some people. Some time later out, I did it with a band, and I was like, oh, I get what you mean. So now that I know that I can control it from the forefront and the back, now we put all of these elements together and see what I can make. Boom, Azalea.
Okay.
It was like a process of like learning. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember I first time I heard West Side Gun, and I was listening to the beats, and I was like, this is shit that I always like. It reminded me of like old Kanye, just loops, you know, Jay Dilla, like Doom, just like I'm like going back, like Missy. Like I really love Missy Elliott. I know niggas like don't really talk about Missy, but Missy is like
Lil Wayne just recently named her as his GOAT.
Nigga, like
creative off the chain. And she ain't too far from y'all.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So she ain't too far from y'all.
It's something that's it's just there. You know what I'm saying? And if you end up being a nigga that just sticks with it and just be weird, it just does what it does eventually, I guess.
Now, I heard you say you went to California. I know you went to college out there. What was that experience? We both from the East, so
yeah.
First time I went to Cali, they talk a little different and
hey, God. Let me tell you about the first time somebody dapped me up in California, dog. I was so mad. Niggas like, yeah. I was like, yo, what's up? He said,
that's like some Mexican shit out here.
I'm like, what is you doing? Like, what you? And then I was like hot for a while because I was like, this feels so like not personal, but then I realized that the way that California is segregated versus the way that it's segregated in the East is different. There's a mix of the culture, but it's not intermingled like it would be with New York. So it's like there's an awareness of the fact that these cultures are here and they're adjacent, but it's like, let me go down to some of the homies that live down in Inglewood. When you dive them up, regular shit. So it's like, so there is a division of culture, even though it's they're recognizing that they exist amongst one another. You know what I'm saying? The Valley is different from downtown LA, which is different from Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? Which is different from shit, dog. Like shit, I can go as far as Hesperia, which is like an hour and an hour out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just so different.
So much.
Yeah.
Now, when you went to the Musicians Institute of Hollywood, what was that like for you?
White.
Did it kind of trigger you back to whether you was younger going to the schools you was living in, or was it a bit different?
It was a big difference because it's like when you're dealing with musicians, you're dealing with a specific type of person. Okay. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense. Kind of like artists and photographers. I feel like there's also type of personality with them. I totally understand.
Absolutely. So like you got a lot of the people that even came from foreign countries thinking they could go to Musicians Institute and become the next big star. That's how it sold it to you, was you come here and you work, you da-da-da. Some people get connections. Like I had a homie that played for Nick Jonas. Another homie played for Kendrick. I had another homie that was playing bass with the homie that was doing the Nick Jonas shit because they were both in the same class. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's stuff like that. But these are people also who, well, the homie that played for Nick Jonas actually went to 2 other music schools before he got here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like you get sold and brought in the thought that you can just become this overnight celebrity, but in reality, the people that actually did become something were people that were working long before they got to that point.
No, that definitely makes sense. Now, when you was out there in Cali, was there anything that was like life-changing that happened to you whatsoever, or?
There was a lot of shit. One of my homies died.
Out there in Cali or back home?
Nah, he died while in Cali. Actually, there's a few things that happened. One, my stepmom died while I was on tour. I was in Cali at the time.
Okay, sorry to hear that.
Appreciate you. My homie passed right before I released Analogs. He was supposed to be on Analogs. And I got hit by a truck. That was crazy.
So hold on, pause. You got hit by a truck.
Yeah.
When you say a truck, like what kind of truck you talking about?
Like a Suburban.
Obviously you good, but like how bad was you injured?
Nah, my knee is fucked up, like permanently.
Ah, damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Now, how did that affect you mentally? And more so, not just mentally, like, how does it feel when you go through something like that and then you're back in your recording environment or in your studio environment or performance environment? Do those thoughts go through your head? Because some people are different.
But I think and this is just me, like, I just think there's obviously shit wrong with me, but it's more. It's obviously it's like more along the lines of like, we're Black, right? Yeah, so our concept of survival and death is different than someone who isn't. Right?
For sure.
It's like that. So because I was so used to from being young for it just be something over and over and over again, it was like, oh, okay, something else happened. All right.
It's like a little numbness a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That definitely makes sense, man. That definitely makes sense. Now, I got to take it back a little bit to DC, because some just, you see, I want to say Baltimore again.
It's okay, dog. I understand. That's why I'm here.
There's something called go-go from y'all city.
That's crazy. I just went to a go-go last night.
Our word. We need some type of clarification about what this is, bro. From the outside looking in, I don't know if I picture like some instrument shaking. I don't know. Like, break it down for me, B.
Imagine if you went to church and the pastor broke down the shout to about a halftime, and the whole church was just cranking for like 30 minutes. That's go-go.
Okay.
Because you know how gospel has elements of rock and jazz, and the bass, the layer is funk. Shout out Chuck Brown. There's the base layer of the heaviness, funk, and then you add all the other elements to it. That's why it gets so big. Actually, I'll give you a little clip from last night, bro.
Like, okay, bet. You was really in there last night.
Oh yeah, dog. Dude, it's so crazy too because like go-go has gotten a pretty difficult rap because of the fact that it was always considered go to the go-go's is violent, you know what I'm saying? Which is the truth. Like growing up, like you go to the go-go's, you have all different types of energies, different hoods, different areas, like anything can happen and erupt at any given time. So there was elements of violence to it, but that's not how, you know what I'm saying? It don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? It's hella love in there. Let me see. See?
So it's from that, sounds like it's a consistent vibe. Is that kind of a way that I can explain that?
It's just a vibe, dog. And if you doing that's different than even a slow bounce where they get the boom, 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 boom. It was like, I give you a perfect example of the go-go transition. Yeah. It's kind of like listening to Life by Proof.
Yeah.
Listening to let's see, Everybody Dies by J. Cole.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a similar element but it's like broken down in a way.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now you being from DC, how did that overall like affect you as not even your music? How did go-go affect you? Like, would you walk through the city, kind of hear like go-go stuff in your head? Did you ever experiment with go-go yourself?
So let's go back. Remember, how my stepmom was. So I wasn't allowed to go to the go-go's. I just catch bits and pieces of it from friends that went to go-go's at schools. You know what I'm saying? It was like I hear about Rare, and especially on the radio. Rare Essence was on that 3 a.m, the Pancake House. That Overnight Scenario was on the run all the time. 95.5. Like you always go used to be a very strong staple of sound in the city.
Now it's not no more.
Not as much. It's taken over by hip hop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now my next question is, man, I feel like you're universal with music, man. Your sound is universal. A lot of people I listen to with hip hop, they're either this or they're that. But with you, it's like you're like a gumbo, in my opinion. I can imagine when you're around certain people, they might get intimidated. Plus, you're a brother. Let's be clear. Plus, you're a brother.
You spitting.
Has that affected how you've moved through the industry? Have you been mistreated in type of ways? Has there been a lot of hate coming your way from certain people? Like, I want to know that.
Bro, I just left a group off of some shit like that. Yeah. I'm not even going to put their name out there because I don't want to give these niggas any type of clout.
No, I'm going to say, yeah.
No, nothing, bro. But they didn't treat me the best on tour. It was when I spoke up about racism that occurred, they dismissed it. And then when it came out to it, you know, I ended up waking up to a fan tagging me in a photo that they took of the CD booklet of the last album that they did with a photo of me that said, "Stop it, you're scaring the white people." Yeah, okay.
So hold on, pause.
Oh my bro.
These hold on. If y'all in a band or group together, so they already breaking the code. They supposed to have your back no matter what, really.
You see what I'm saying?
And was you the drummer?
Oh nah, this was recent, bro. I was rapping.
Oh, you was rapping. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So off top, we know they had to have been intimidated.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know how to be around Black people that are talented, clearly.
But imagine you having like niggas care about clout and monthly listeners and all that shit. Imagine having all that way over me, but you intimidated by me, bro.
That's weird.
Hey, I'm better than you, bro. Let that shit go. Like, why you gotta do all this weird shit?
That's definitely weird. So when you go to bed at night, like that first time after you saw that joint they posted and saying, wow. You ain't capping. Not like I thought you was at all. I'm just saying.
No,
like,
I'm just not a
receipt.
I'm a type of person, like, we don't, niggas be fake everywhere, but in DC, like, you get killed for that shit. Like, there's no room to just bullshit. Like, you just are 100% of what you are. You just not. You a real nigga, you not. You fucked up or you not. It just, I'm not gonna talk about it if it doesn't mean something to me. I don't like exaggerating that much unless I'm really trying to make a poetic statement.
That's word. Now with black men, we always got to deal with stuff like that. I'm a pretty calm dude, but that's some of the radio stations I've been dealing with here. I'm not gonna say their name before I got an iHeartRadio.
Oh God.
Dealing with a similar situation, it made me get so furious, and I was doing things I don't usually do. Yeah. What was it like for you dealing with that?
One, just I'm still dealing with it because it was recent, like within the past week. That's
damn, this is recent.
This is recent. So this like literally just happened. So like,
it's still on you then.
I go in and out of anger because on one end it's like the way I explained it to who was I talking to yesterday? Shit. The homie West that I went to go, he was the one that was like playing in the band and shit. Yeah. Shout out my homie West. But it's like the concept of like, I was like, even if I was on some coon shit, like really just like imagine I'm really just was on some coon shit. Yeah. It still affects everybody else that looks like me. So what would give you the incentive to think that it would be okay outside of me? Like, fuck, that's like the equivalent of white people being like, oh, I can say nigga because my black friend said it. Right. It's like it's like it not being that situation and me not being aware of it and then seeing it like that, it's like, oh, so then you willing to, I got a song called Jim Crow. So imagine that, and then all of the white fans is seeing this bullshit, like everything I'm saying, you see the layers, dog. The layers. So now you got these white kids with a book. One of my homies sent me that joint the other day. He was like looking at one of my white friends. He was like, yo, man, I love you. I miss you, bro. This is like, it's real tight to be able to get this. I was like, wow, that's real crazy because that photo that you're looking at right now is the same reason that I left the group. He was like, oh shit, I'm sorry that I didn't recognize it. I was like, it's okay, bro. You're white. I get it. Y'all don't actively pay attention to this. Yeah. So I understand why you would miss it, but just put it in perspective. And he was like, I'm sorry if I triggered you with it. I'm like, nah, it's cool. You didn't know. I'm glad that you have this in memorabilia. I'm on the album, but this is just what it is. And that wasn't even, bro, and I'm gonna keep it 300 with you. That's just it. That was the last straw for me. That wasn't even
it's kind of been leading up to that point.
Oh, for sure.
Damn, B. I had talked to somebody in your camp and they had told me that it happened. I didn't know how recent that was though. Oh man, that shit would be all over me, bro. Like, and again, that shit, it makes me be somebody that I'm not. I have to really contain my emotions and not take it out on people around me and just really talk to myself all fucking day, whatever comes up in my head. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
You're right. Because that in the worst part of it really is when like, you know, you're not crazy. And then it gets to be about your reaction to it. And it's like, I'm the turn up now. And I'm the threat now because you did some shit that I literally was like, yo, man, this ain't cool. Yo, man, this ain't cool. Yo, man, this ain't cool. Now it's a problem.
They be wiping their accountability under the rug and put it in the trash, bro.
No, kick that shit, bro. It's nuts.
I can't believe that just happened a week ago, man. I mean, I believe it, but it's just like, I didn't know that. So again, it triggers me back to I was going through that time of my shit. I mean, it was a year into it, I was still hot. I still get hot about it now when I hear their name.
Oh, I understand.
How you feel. Now,
and it's crazy about being an artist because they do that thing where it's like putting in the music. And it's like, yeah, dog, I put it in the music, sure, that keeps me safe to some degree. But sometimes I don't want to be safe, nigga. Sometimes I just want to say what the fuck I feel and just have it taken like I'm a person, dog. Like, why I got to go through all of these channels before my feelings get validated?
No, that's word. I mean, something like that shouldn't even be an issue. That picture you just showed me, like, it's one thing to be intimidated and all that. We're going to deal with hate. We're going to deal with microaggression. But when you publicly put it out there, in a picture form, and they put it out there in a way where people will judge you like you're doing something wrong. Yeah, bro. These motherfuckers, man. Now let's talk about something a little bit happier. You got a show coming up in Boston.
Yes.
And, you know, let's talk about some announcements you might not have made yet. Are we able to talk about that?
Let's talk. What's up? We can talk about anything, bro. Yeah.
Hey, so you got any tours coming up? You finna hit some cities or what?
All right, so boom. I'm hitting Boston. I'm hitting Indiana. Like my home, like, you know what I'm saying? Indianapolis. I'm hitting Los Angeles. Let me give you the dates. July 22nd, Indianapolis. July 19th, LA. Not July 19th, my bad. August 19th, LA. August 21st, Boston. And then I think it's the first week of September. I'm doing a show at Brixton Jam in London.
Now how did you land that joint right there? I mean, that's overseas, baby.
You know how to, I'm gonna tell every artist that ever look at this shit, yo, you know how to make it independently, make genuine relationships. That's literally how it happened. My homegirl was talking to this one dude, and she was like, yo, my brother do this. And I met him. He was like, yo, this is cool. He talked to my manager. Boom. Oh, yeah, by the way, I got connects with like 3 or 4 venues. Let me see what I can do to you.
Wow. That had to feel good.
Yeah. You got to treat people right, bro. People don't like it. And maybe it's hard, it's complicated. Like, we all human, shit happens. But for the most part, you got to try to treat people right, dog. People know, people remember that shit. There's people that come up to me and will say things like, yo, like 5 years ago, I met you at a Starbucks and you said something to me. And I'm like, nigga, I don't remember that. But
but clearly they done held on to it though.
Like I try to, you know what I'm saying? But I don't say I be mean as fuck sometimes. So I ain't about to make it seem nice.
Now I know you're an artist where you got your shit together. And I know you in the business tip too. I know you got some hoodies or some t-shirts, some gear somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Where can people get that at?
Spacecult.co. So SPVCECULT.co. July 1st, the official store opens up. I have a lot of incredible things. Actually, let me see if I have it on me because I want to show you something crazy. All right, so boom. This is one of my favorite trades and is provides me the biggest peace of mind. So I take Polaroids.
Okay.
You know, this has really become like a real like part of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, you know, doing a couple shows coming up. You know, man, I'm really excited about this. Actually, I'm like looking through them.
There we go. They're the ones we looking for. Yeah.
Like, bro.
And seeing that Polaroid nostalgic as fuck off top, especially from our era.
So boom, what is actually happening here is this is part of a project. So each Polaroid, I'm just gonna have for sale specific Polaroids. It's gonna be 200. It's gonna come in the form of a Polaroid T-shirt, one of a kind. You get a link to the physical copy of the Polaroid. You get a print of the Polaroid, and it has the story of what the Polaroid is. Once you purchase the Polaroid, it's no longer online. So you're the only person who owns it.
Oh, wow.
So the way that you are able to see that you physically have the Polaroid, because, you know, I own it because I took it. There's a QR link on the inside of the T-shirt. And once you scan that, it'll bring up a website that shows you me holding the actual Polaroid. So you know it exists.
That's mad artistic, being creative. Now, that led me to a question I have on my notes. Are you involved with NFTs, or you think about going that route at all?
No.
For real?
And this is the reason why. Because listen, this is the true non-fungible. This is the true non-fungible. It's here physically, and you are the only one that owns it. No one could people could take pictures of it and do whatever they want.
Real life NFT.
Listen, check this out. And even on the website, there's a watermark on the photo. So until you purchase the photo, you can't see the dimensions of how beautiful the photo is. You're aware of what it is, but then when you catch it, you can zoom in, you can see the ripples, you can see the depth of the photo itself. But only
where the fuck you come up with that shit at? What's your zodiac sign?
Leo.
God damn. That shit is smart, B. That shit is smart. Now, here's my last question.
Yeah.
You're a black man from DC, an artist,
yeah,
traveled all over, that went to schools before, that seen a lot of people, that touched people's lives. And now right now people are listening, and imagine when people are listening, they're feeling something as well from you. What is your message to people that don't believe in themselves, or that along with that might have abandonment issues, or never met their parents before, have those question marks and kind of might feel like that's holding them back? You've lived through some of these things before. What is a message, like a real life insider message from you to them, bro? For real.
Let yourself be human, man. I feel like I give an example. So I'm not tolerant of the shit that I just went through, right?
Yeah.
But I've been in situations where I've had very aggressive racial encounters.
Okay.
People that I've been able to have a contact of understanding with, and them recognize and then rebuild who they are. I've seen it happen in real time. Now, I don't believe it's up to any of us to have to do that. But at the time, I just put out the energy, and that energy catalyzed something that made it something positive, in the sense of saying that everybody is a human and you have to be who you are at the time you are who you are. For example, you can whip somebody's ass and they could decide that, hey, I don't want to be an asshole today. You being yourself, just be who you are, build who you are, exist who you are. If you're angry, be angry. If you're sad, be sad. But just recognize your own personal effect on the space around you. Everybody has an energy that ripples out to the space around them. That's why when you see kids running around and frolicking, you laugh and you think about family and you get happy. That's the reason why you'll meet someone in the bar and they come talk to you and then you are vibing for 2 hours. It's like everything is about energy. And if you allow yourself to be yourself instead of being so hypercritical on the basis of things that are built in a system that is only meant to cater to one particular community of people, it'll make it much easier for you to be like, oh, fuck this shit. This shit not even for me. Like, look, bro, one of my fans made this on tour. Rest in peace, MF Doom, right? This man wore a mask. This man wore a mask to symbolize like the truth of identity. This man was able to be so many different things while still simultaneously being himself. So
I like that concept.
Yeah. Like, who's to stop you from doing that shit?
I appreciate you sharing that. That wasn't no cliche answer, so I appreciate that, because a lot of people, man, you never know what they're going through. And even with you, like, we talk behind the scenes. I know your pops left you in a goddamn church.
Yeah.
When you said that shit, my eyes damn near got chest-eyed off that shit.
Man,
you know what I mean?
That's the least of that shit.
So for you to be able to share that with my people, man, I appreciate that. Now, this is officially my last question, B.
Yeah.
Where can people find the music online? How can they get a hold of you on social media? How can they do that, yo?
All right, boom. So my name is Airospace, AIROSPACE. My Instagram, Twitter, everything else. The handle is AIROSPVCE, because, you know, some asshole decided to take the actual joint. So here we are trying to mix it up and be artistic and shit, because, you know, algorithm. But yeah, I'm everywhere. Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, Napster, Deezer, fuck, LimeWire, if you still got it, fuck it.
He said LimeWire, he still got it.
Yeah, we out here, bro. Like, you know. Oh, and also on that note, man, listen, for all the Black people in the audience, do not have no time or energy explaining nothing to none of these people. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And for those of y'all out there that's like watching that's not Black, like, do the best you can to help and look out and just treat us like human, bro. You got a Black person next to you, fuck a protest, nigga. Treat them like they matter. That's it.
That definitely makes sense to me, man. That's some of the shit we going through here in Minneapolis, believe it or not.
Damn.
Yeah, it's some real racial, we call it the New South up here.
I performed at I think it's called First Street. First Ave. Yeah, that was
downtown.
Yeah, that was the show that we had while we was on tour. I'm gonna send you the video from that joint. Site.
No doubt. And when you come back, bro, we gotta link up in person. If I'm out there in the East, I'm gonna be in New York in September. Maybe we can link up in Times Square. Out there or something. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, man, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you being vulnerable and open and not one of these chin down ass niggas that, you know, give these fake stun thug ass answers and shit that ain't true and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, I like, listen, I know people, and these people did their best. Like, I like my big bro along everything. I love this nigga G-Rod, bro. Like, me and this nigga always be getting in issues. But he, like, I remember one time when we was younger, he was telling me about some shit that was going down. He's like, yeah, dog, it's about to go down, about to do. I was like, yeah, dog, I got this. Let's go. He was like, nigga, sit your ass at home. I'm just trying to tell you what's going on. Like, they've never wanted me to get in it. So it was like, I would do whatever I need to. If I need to fight, I'll do what I need to do. If I need to be there, I need to handle whatever. But like, they always did their best to try to keep me away from it. So my way of honoring it is trying to make sure I keep a clean channel for them to be able to do whatever they can.
No, I think that's good, especially for my younger listeners to hear, because they be misguided out here, B.
Yeah, dog, please get off the streets, dog. I know that shit seem like it's cool, bro, but like, dog, I literally don't have a family, and I've grown up very alone in different instances. And yes, I have blood that are there and whatever, but just not having the structure of having people. I'm telling you, bro, like, no matter what you don't have, the feeling of feeling like the world owns you is going to own you, because it's going to keep taking from you as long as you don't put yourself in a position to give to something that is going to build you. Like, you have to give to something that's going to build you. I gave to music, so music built me. You have to find something. You can't do that in the streets. The streets were literally strategically and mathematically designed to keep you exactly where you are.
When they say housing project, I always look at the word project.
Okay.
It was a project. It was an experiment. Project. I'd be like, God damn. So we just a project to y'all.
A scientific experiment. If you look at it like when you go to school and they ask you to do all of the, get your science board and explain the hypothesis of this, how did you get your experimentation? That's exactly how they look at you in your neighborhood. So get out.
Crazy. That's just crazy. That's just crazy, man. A fucking project, man. A fucking project.
I understand the concept of ownership and needing to feel the attachment to where you came up from. But bro, there's something very dystopian about the same block that you dying for. The niggas that own that block will come there and wipe the whole block out at any moment.
Oh, Chicago. Even where you from?
Literally.
Even where you from? They was doing a lot gentrification over there.
Bro, there's 5-6 new buildings just off of this one street up there.
Copy.
Yeah.
It's just heavy, man.
Mm-hmm. But
heavy.
We out here and we building it. That's why we doing this shit, so that the kids, when they see this shit, they can find some type of peace in this motherfucker. We're trying to fight it, because I hate seeing 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds dying. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's happening all over the nation. These little 3-letter clicks and all that. And you already know, man. You already know. Yeah, but I ain't gonna hold the time much longer, man. We went about 30 minutes over. Whenever I go 30 minutes over, you know I'm feeling that shit.
Yeah, we talking, bro. This a family shit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I said, we was gonna have a conversation. So it's a Power Hour MNTC, the Plug and Sell. We out.